207-2014, consider the revised Act 537 plan for Mount Pleasant Township to propose the sewage service to the residents of the Southview area. Mr. Stephen H. Greenberg, PE of KLH Engineers, will speak briefly. Go ahead and talk to us.
Thank you. Appreciate you giving me a few minutes. I was here last month, and the discussion really focused on the projected rate of $95 a month. And I wanted to make sure that you understood what you're voting on tonight. If you vote no to the plan update, the rate will still be $95 a month, and the people in Southview will have a sewage treatment plant in their neighborhood. If you vote yes to the update, the rate will be $95 a month, and the residents of Southview will not have a sewage treatment plant in their neighborhood. So, just to be clear, the project will move forward. You're voting no to the amendment will not kill the project. It just means that there will be a package plant in that neighborhood. And I want to make sure that you were clear about that before you voted.
Would you repeat that they'll have to pay $95 a month?
The rate, projected rate.
Did you say no?
No, the projected rate is $95 a month. Yes.
Is that either way?
That's either way. It's $95 a month whether
So they're going to have to pay $95 a month whether we approve it or not?
Yes.
And who's going to enforce that?
The Mount Pleasant Township Municipal Authority will
Can enforce it in Cecil Township?
yes.
How so?
You've approved the Act 537 plan is approved by the DEP to serve those residents of Southview that are in Cecil Township that are served by the Mount Pleasant Township Municipal Authority.
And how do you get the $95 rate? That's horrendous.
The $95 rate has actually been established by Penvest. Because of the median income in Mount Pleasant Township. They've said that the median, that the affordable rate for the project because of the income in Mount Pleasant Township is $95 a month. That we didn't select that, they selected that.
But the median income in Southview may not be near that amount.
That's correct. In any one of the areas that the project will serve, Hickory, Westland, and Southview, individually, their median income probably doesn't support the $95. But township-wide is what Penvest looks at. And they've established $95
And is the entire Mount Pleasant Township covered with this?
No, the population centers are all covered.
Well, then you said it was township-wide.
Well, all the ratepayers in the township. Everyone will pay $95. Everyone who's served will pay $95. The people who live in Hickory, the people who live in Westland.
You mean anyone who is servable?
Yes.
Will pay $95.
Will pay $95 a month. Yes.
Is there any potential for that to be lowered at some point?
If we can get grant money, you know, and your township has been through this as well. It's a function of how much grant money is available and how much Act 13 money is applied to the project. The more that grant money we get, the more the potential for the rate to go down is. But we can't move the project forward and try and get that grant money until we have a shovel-ready project. So the township supervisors in Mount Pleasant have really the funding, the design, primarily through Act 13 money, so that we can get to a point where we can try and seek funding. And that funding is going to determine what the rate is.
Or whether the project goes forward.
Yes.
And you need how much? $8 million?
Grant money totaling, I believe it's $8 million to make the $95 a month. And to date, Mount Pleasant Township has committed $1.3 million to that in grant money. That's Act 13 money. And moving forward, we're hoping that they'll commit more. They've committed more long term, but we don't have an amount yet.
Not Pleasant Township.
Mount Pleasant Township.
And how much impact fee did they receive this past year?
I don't know.
You don't know, but I think it was $1 million.
What is the project completion date on this, on your 537? So you have to have all your funding in place to start.
Right now, the projected completion date, if everything goes according to schedule, the completion date would be sometime in 2018. That's when people would get notices to tap.
It will tap in.
But we're hoping to complete the design and have the project permitted late 2016. That's our plan.
Now, are you going by a tap-in fee or frontage on people's projects?
It's a tap-in fee.
And what was that?
Right, we're telling people that it could be as high as $7,500. We're hoping it's nowhere near that. But you know how this goes. If I would come to you and say it's going to be $1,500, and then we come back and to make the project feasible it becomes $3,000, it's, you know, I want people to be prepared that it could be high. We're hoping it's nowhere near that.
Realistically, are you thinking that it's going to come in? I know that's what you're saying to people.
It is so far. Again, I've been through this quite a number of times. We don't know what the funding scenarios are going to be. You know how the economy plays into whether the federal government puts money into the Penn Best program, and all those things are unknowns until we get to the point where the project is complete. Or not complete, but until the project is designed and permitted, we can actually apply for funding and approach LSA for grant money and go after all those things that are available. But right now, we just have to tell you what we think the worst case is, and then hope that we do better than that.
That's crazy. $7,500 tap and be $95 a month.
Yes.
That, I mean, you're going to really strap people.
I understand.
Steve, I recall a conversation that occurred with our municipal authority, and I can't remember if it was URA or PennVest. Initially, and we experienced this with our Lawrence project, initially they were saying, for demographics, you need to look at the entire Lawrence, village of Lawrence, which would include, in our case, some newer homes in Georgetown Estates. And then they came back to the municipal board and said, well, wait, you can carve those sections out.
We've talked about that. We've talked about, because Westland was a prime example. They talked about, actually it was URS that talked about carving out Westland because the income level is low there as a separate project. And if it comes to that, we'll do that. But at this point, and I stress this, we have to put one foot in front of the other and try to move this thing forward. And right now, we want to get a project shovel ready so that we can have the best opportunity to get grant money and low interest money to move the project forward and keep it as inexpensive as possible.
What would the worst case scenario be if there wasn't any grant money available when you're ready?
I don't think if there's any no grant money available, I don't see how the project as a whole can move forward. I think it'll be picking an area to satisfy the DEP to move some part of it forward, and that probably would be Westland, I would think.
See, from our aspect, we've heard from our residents in Southview that they want a sewer project. And it seems like that even though, I still don't believe the rates would be the same, but even if they were the same, a package plant near Southview as opposed to a larger plant with a pump station, it seems like that's more of a doable thing, that in the foreseeable future we could have sewers for the people in Southview and not make their fate be tied to a big project getting big bucks.
I understand it, and I think everybody would look at their individual area and say, well, if we just do this little area, it's cheaper, and we have 3 package plants located in Mount Pleasant Township, one to serve Hickory, one to serve Westland, and one to serve Southview. Unfortunately, the operation and maintenance costs for that scenario get really, really expensive, and that's why when I say the cost is the same either way, it's because the debt service goes up for the pump station and force main, but the operation, the O&M costs go down because we don't have 2 plants to maintain. So I'm not sure the rate would be cheaper. I think if you look at your scenario, looking at Southview by itself and not considering anything else, you're probably right. But when you look at trying to provide sewers throughout the township where there are problems all over the place, that doesn't serve the greater good of the township.
So we really have only 2 options on this vote. It's still going to go through no matter what we do, whether we want to put basically a treatment plan in there, or whether we think we can just go out with a pump station, which would probably have a better chance of lowering the residents' costs down the road, correct?
Yeah, because the operation and maintenance costs.
But those people are living with raw sewage right now, and it's just a project of that magnitude. It could be years and years and years before that money comes available for the $8 million grant money they need. Or now, it might be affordable. And I'm not being selfish for our residents in Southview, because the Mount Pleasant residents live in Southview also. That village could have sewers a lot sooner on a smaller scale project.
No, it wouldn't, because it would actually take longer, because if we had to carve up a project, Southview wouldn't be first, Westland would probably be first. So it would delay things.
Now, as far as we're concerned, we were working on that project too, and Mount Pleasant came to us and said, look, instead of you doing it, we'll work on that
Well,
project.
and to make that change, you have to go back and do a 537 to address that again. So now we're, it's going through this whole process over again.
Well, we can talk to we talked about talking to our residents. They're having a meeting with them and running it by. No one's talked to them about this whole new scenario, and you're asking us to vote on a major amendment to the whole 537. And I thought we talked about
It's really not a major amendment. It is, the residents of Southview will be served under the approved Act 537 as it sits today. The rate would be projected to be $95 a month. If you don't approve the amendment, the same residents will be served. They'll just have this package for the treatment plant in their neighborhood, that's all.
Which I would imagine they would want.
No, that's not bad. There's nothing wrong with plants.
You think there's a plan down here?
Yeah, I don't know. I would not want that in my neighborhood.
I wouldn't want to be done with that. So I think that's a choice whether we go ahead and vote for it or against it tonight.
I don't know, I think.
I'm in no position to vote on anything tonight. And I think that we need to have a meeting with the residents in Southview before we consider it.
When do you have to have our decision by?
I probably wait till January if need be. There's a point where we have to move the design forward, and we have to know which way we're going.
That's why we're asking.
Right.
If we hold off and try to meet with the residents of Southview sometime in December, so that, which would be difficult to do with the holidays, but we could try. Could we vote on this in January?
Meet with them in January.
I guess I want to work with you.
You're kind of like, basically you're putting us on the spot.
Well, I don't think I'm putting you on the spot. I was here last month. I sent the 537 plan in. Last month there were questions. The board members said that they may have questions. I was available to answer questions over the last month. So it's not. I don't feel like I'm putting you on the spot tonight. This has been an ongoing process. But I am.
I do not understand that they're making decisions in the party. I certainly do not.
But all that said, I can put this off a little bit, and I would be happy to come back in January and discuss it again. February
is more sensible.
I will go back to the authority board.
I agree with Supervisor Cotton. I think it's unrealistic to expect us to pull a meeting together with residents in Southview considering the holidays coming up. I think that it's a lot more reasonable that we would be able to meet with them at some point in January and have a decision for you in February.
And that's what I was curious about too. If you can set something up for January, I'd like you to be able to attend the meeting to be able to talk to us too.
Just let me know in advance, because I have a meeting schedule that I have.
This past month, since you came last time, that we've had budget hearings and some meetings and stuff, so it's been a busy month for us to try to sneak anything else in. And then we'll try to set something up in January so that the residents of Southview can come, and then,
Sure.
then maybe you can come with us, Mr. Greenberg, and then we can address all questions then.
Very good, I'll be happy to do that.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you.